Hello, I'm Aaron and welcome back to the Laststandgamers channel. So today we're checking out another really cool creation from the Steam Workshop. Now if you know anything about Dead Space, well, you'll recognize this ship right here. Now there's a few little warnings I want to say here. Sam's created this and it's yet to be finished. It's missing a few things. He's put some thrusters on so we can have a little bit of a fly around with it, but it's not completely laid out. On top of that, it has been rescued from an old version of Space Engineers that's been corrupted. There is nothing worse than losing a project that you spent hours and hours of time into, so the rescue must have felt absolutely life-saving. I wish I could go back and rescue some of my early ships. Anyway, let's have a quick look around this world and have a quick nice glance at the various different components of this ship. So we'll start on the exterior and then we'll pop inside. So let's have a look right here. So we've got this giant glass cockpit here in the center, protected by these cool little brown overhangs. The middle of the ship always reminds me of like a little bug or a woodlouse, if you've ever seen one of them. And it's got these external pillars. They're just color coding is really nice. It's nice when a ship uses a bit of an unusual color. I mean, maybe there's a lot of ships that use the brown and gray tones, but you can see as the armor stacks up on top of each other, it's not using anything too fancy. It isn't using weird rotors or hinges to get the angle. It's just traditional Space Engineers shipbuilding. And as you can see, it curves off around on the inside as well. And if we peek in here, you can see there's access to a glass corridor. Now going underneath, we've got some more detail and we've got various different blocks or just extensions that drop down, as well as an access doorway into this little section here. This ship really reminds me of the traditional Space Engineers interiors before a lot of the modern fancy decor blocks came into place. It's still a very nice detailed interior, but you can see it's just not using any of the DLC blocks or the modern accessories. So as we come up into this bridge area, you can see that just there as well. We've got them gravity drives. So let's continue moving past the front area of the ship. So as we go into this area here, this is what really kind of catches my attention and imagination. Just look how cool that is. You can imagine smaller vessels piloting the way in between the little trellis type support beams. So you can see each one of these giant curved panels is being held in place by both trellis and these attachment points here. Let's just have a look at the detailing. So it's your standard sort of Space Engineers building once again, nothing too new here, but you can see the armoured ramps have been used, as well as some trellis half-built blocks to create that really cool effect, especially with the trellis here in the middle, just giving it this really well-supported structure look. There's a small hangar back there as well we'll take a look at in a moment. So as we continue moving through this area, you'll see there is a central corridor with various different rooms that we can have a bit of a glance into. It's a very dark coloured ship in the centre area here. Very, very cool, very aesthetic, so to say. And as we wrap ourselves into this lower area, you can see the hull starts to fold down. There's lots of unusual angles and shapes to this ship that really makes it quite interesting and appealing to the eye. And especially when I zoom myself out like that, you can just see how the details just pop. Them giant thrusters or housing areas at the back are fantastic as well. So let's continue moving on. So as we've got these multiple connection points, you can see we've got some little access corridors here, so you can run through the connections if you need to, with glass paneling floor. Very atmospheric, and especially when you were playing Dead Space, some of the open areas just let my jaw absolutely drop to the ground and the amazement and the beauty of it. So let's continue moving our way through here. So lots of windows, lots of access. Now in some areas of Dead Space, when you were in the larger areas and you did have access or windows to outside, you just kind of got a sense of the scale and how small you were compared to the ship, and you get that exactly here as well. So let's continue moving a little bit further back. You can see we've got the hangar area here located on the top. If I drop down, you can see there is a lower storage area and refinery that's tucked inside there. We'll have a bit of a closer look at that when we go inside. And then in the rear area, you can actually see how the armoured panels are actually slightly... Well, I think they're all the actual same size. Well, I thought they were sort of staggered outwards. Must be like a bit more of an internal effect, because when you're looking here, you can kind of feel like it's getting larger towards the rear, but it really isn't. That's pretty cool indeed. Let's keep moving towards the back. So we've got reactors, we've got a little bit of the uncompleted area. This is probably just to power the ship up and get it working, with all the hidden thrusters that are tucked inside. And then we're at the back, sort of housing and engine bay cells. Currently they are just cargo containers and cargo containers stacked here with these little levels between them. I wonder in the future, since this is only one third the scale of the real one, if he was planning on doing any of the interiors from the levels with inside Dead Space, in here. You have to let me know if you can see any that you've recognised as we go through. So coming around the back, you can see the shaft then extends into this rear area, and this will probably give us the perfect opportunity to go inside. You can see the rear sort of quadrant, the rest of the ship would be attached on through this area, and it would continue to go. To be honest, this is giving me really good frames at the minute. There's a lot of ship missing though at the same time, so hopefully they'll continue that on and we'll see a full ship maybe in a future video. So let's go inside now. So as we enter this very long tube, I'm not a massive fan of ships that have a giant shaft that runs down the center, but for efficiency purposes it is really good. You could have a monorail, any sort of system that you wanted just to run up down the middle there. So you can see that leads us right through to this little compartment here. Perfect. You can see we've got little staircase details in here, like a little meeting room. And the corridors in Dead Space were always quite scary and compact. We'll see if they've managed to pull that effect off as we move through here. Because at the moment I'm getting a lot of open areas. Yeah, some really small, quite compact living quarters in these areas. Yeah, look at that. It looks like a little cell. It's tiny. Ooh. Feel trapped right in there already. And then we've got the bridge area here that we briefly had a look at before. So we've got 3 chair consoles at the top, and we've got the other control rooms up there as well. Really nice indeed. You know what would be cool for this place? It's like a little Dead Space themed scenario perhaps. I mean, I don't think you can get any Dead Space weapons in Space Engineers. Let's have a drop down the deck and see if we can actually have a look through the walls and see any more details. So we've got another corridor that leads us across the top area here. Very nice indeed. You can see we've got this old school corridor engineering. You can definitely tell it's from some time ago when you used to use the interior vents so much to decorate things. And then we're back into that meeting room. Let's have a little bit of a clip through. So we've got some more of these narrower corridors. Looks like it needs a little bit of work still in this area. But it's coming together. And with all these builds, I think it's really important that you allow the creators to continue on and, you know, continue to develop their idea and understand. Oh, look at this room. This is lovely. I like the amount of light and the amount of outside you can actually see from this area as well. Really nice big hallway type building. Just missing, with the thing I always think when I'm building ships and stuff, is each building, each room, each ship compartment needs some sort of purpose. And if the player who's looking at it can't see the purpose of it, is there any point in having it, or do you need to redesign that room to serve that purpose? Let's continue on. We've got this rear area here. This will take us out onto this flat. I'm not too sure if this area is complete, but you can see it leads us back into the reactors, and there's the lower area there that takes you through the central shaft. There's also this sort of compact area down here in the sort of in the guts of the ship. This gives you a really Dead Spacey sort of feel. You can see these anti-gravity type areas with the various different control rooms, and then we've got this hangar that drops down out of the bottom of the ship. Very cool indeed. Really nice. Like some of the interior hallways are just perfect. You can imagine just walking through with your character's lights in the dark, maybe having a flashing light in the distance. Let's get our little headlight on if we can. Oh, I've got no power, of course. I can't get my headlight on. But yeah, it's scaled really well. Let's have a look in here. So we've got the refinery room in this section, and then this leads us where to exactly? So it takes us up through into here in like a seating area, maybe a CIC or some sort of other control room that's yet to be constructed. Anyway, I invite you to check this out on the workshop for yourself. Sam, the designer, has also put down in the comment section below that he's more than welcome for you to continue building this, because he's not got a lot of time to work on the project, or make it work, add some thrusters, try some different things out. I think it's just begging for like a mini event to be built inside it. So if we just have one final look inside here, you can just see the tons and tons of car containers going up into these sections. We've also got these thrusters. Should we try to fire it up? We'll give it a go. Well, I'm not too sure if it's absolutely wired up, if it will be as simple as hitting Y and turning this thing on. Okay, yeah, so there is no power. We can't get the power going. Let's see if we can get the reactors firing up. So large reactors, they're all on. So I'm guessing we're in a world here that is requiring all them reactors to be charged up. Right, reactors are online, so that's also brought the interior lighting into issue. We've got the blue lighting that looks absolutely stunning. Let's get this thing for a spin. So let's power it up. Acceleration not too bad, gyroscopic movement not too bad. I mean, we haven't got exactly a full ship here, but the scale of that, imagine that's it going past you in like a multiplayer setting. The other players would go, wow, you have way too much time on your hands. Especially if everyone had enough time to build like this on the Space Engineers server, the amount of creations that you'd see, that would just be giant. It's a little bit sad, really, isn't it, that Space Engineer? You can't build massive things on a server, or you can, but, you know, it gets a little bit too slow, and then when things smash into each other, the game wrecks itself. But anyway, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Check out the creator's work. There'll be a link down to it in the description, and I will see you next time.